I'm Steve Barnett. I'm the director for the Irvington Historical Society. This is the headquarters for the society. Originally, this was the Butler University Library when Butler was in Irvington. It's named for Bona Thompson, whose picture is here. This is a photograph of a portrait that was done by T.C. Steele after Bona's death. Bona was from Edinburgh, Indiana. Her parents came here to Irvington so she could go to Butler. This was quite a common thing for families who were wealthy and for families who were not so wealthy. They would move to a location so their children could attend a university. And that's what occurred here in Irvington, really up and through the 20s. People would move here so their children could attend Butler. The Thompsons had a beautiful house across the street here. It was originally built in 1873, and then they came in around 1890 and modified it and transformed it into a wonderful Italianate Victorian-style home. Unfortunately, it's gone. That's what happens when you have homes on large lots. People, after a while, they say, gee whiz, we can divide this up into lots, and there are now 10 houses that sit on the lot where the Thompson home once stood. Bona attended Butler. She graduated in 1897, and then tragically she contracted typhoid fever and died following a trip to Europe. So she was the only surviving child of the Thompsons, and what do you do to honor her? So at that time, Butler was in need of a library building. The library at the time was housed in the science building, and the trustees of the university were always concerned that there might be a chemistry experiment that would go awry, and there would go the whole library collection. So they were very anxious to have a library, and the Thompsons donated $40,000 and the property to build this building in her honor. It served as Butler's library from 1903 to 1928, when Butler relocated to the north side of Indianapolis. This is a model of the campus as it looked around 1915. The campus was west of here about a block and a half. Where I'm standing right now, if we're in the building we're now in, Bona Thompson Library, the campus would be behind me about a block and a half. Unfortunately, it's all gone. It's now housing. When Butler left in 1928, there was various efforts to try to preserve the campus, but by 1940, no takers, so the buildings were leveled and it was turned into residential property. Butler still exists here. If you go out in Irvington and with possibly tour guides that you've seen or maps, most of the houses, many of the houses rather, in the community served at one time or another either as faculty homes or Greek houses. Butler didn't have any dormitories per se for students. They had one small building on the north side of the campus, which was a women's dormitory. It's a photograph in the upper left here, or upper right. And, but it was not really adequate to serve all the students that needed it. So most of the students found housing either, like I say, their parents had moved here and they lived at home, or they may have lived in other parts of Indianapolis and commuted out here. But by the 20s, Butler was encouraging the formation of Greek houses to accommodate the housing needs of the student body. They had about 1,500 students at that time, and there was just an explosion in the number of Greek organizations that were formed in the 20s. And they rented homes in the community. The Sigma Chi House is over here on Downey Avenue. It's the green house at the corner here of Downey and Omer. And they say there were just tons of other little places where the folks would rent their homes. Sigma Chi's were in that house all through the 20s. Most of the other Greek houses moved frequently, and I think it probably was because they either didn't pay their rent or they trashed the place and needed to move. The Historical Society, like I said, this is our headquarters where we have our archival collection. The artwork that you see is from our collection. William Forsyth, the dean of a group known as the Irvington Group in the 20s and the 30s, loved Pleasant Run. So when you ride down Pleasant Run, you'll see many of the scenes that he would have painted. We have a number of other exhibits that I'm sure you would enjoy seeing, so come back and visit us either later today. We're open from 1 to 4, or some other time. Our regular hours are Wednesdays 1 to 3, and Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 4.
And why is the street light in the foyer?
The street light, this is one of the original Irvington street lights. Back in the early 1970s, Mayor Lugar was wanting to entertain the NATO mayors, and so the city of Indianapolis came out to Irvington and took all of our street lights and put them downtown. And we ended up with what they call the, I can't remember what the name is now, but anyway, the street lights that, well, the ones that are on the tall poles that keep the birds awake at night. So they really didn't illuminate the street, they illuminated the tops of our trees. So anyway, this is one of the remaining street lights that we had in Irvington. And that you would find basically in the 20s is when they came into popularity. Downstairs we have a harvester exhibit, the harvester room we call it, and also the Angels of West Baden down in the Grand Hotel, the domed hotel there at West Baden, Indiana. High in the center of the dome there is a little space that was a construction area when the hotel was being built. And somebody went up there after the construction and painted 8 angels. Nobody knows why, when, or who. And so those images were captured on film and transferred to canvas, and we have those on exhibit downstairs. So come back and see us. Anybody have any questions before you head out?
I think we're cut off.
Well, I'm just going to link to the back end of this side.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah. So, well, thank you very much for coming. And come back and see us. Enjoy your ride. It's a beautiful day to be out and about.
You don't want to take it with you? Thank you.
Okay, have a good day now.